Okay, good afternoon. We'll call the May 21st, 2025 Civil Service Committee meeting to order. Our next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the May 7th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion? Second, all in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Next order of business is a request to discuss having to vacate position due to suspended CDL license that is required for senior groundskeeper position. So we want to kind of wants to take us through it. What's the request? Let's do the why don't we do the backstory and then what the request is.
So basically there was
I'll take the reins if you want.
Oh, go ahead.
okay.
So back in September, I had an issue. I got pulled over. I refused the breathalyzer. I got charged with DWI. So I went through all of the court, everything. And all that's been shaken out since then. I was told that they couldn't vacate, they couldn't make me leave my position until all the court and everything was finished. Since then, I went to the classes that the court requires you to go to. I've gone to ACBC a couple of different times. The second time that I had because I guess the time had elapsed where basically to have my seat or to have my conditional license to be able to come to work and perform my work duties. So they told me after the court, and I know that Kent has all the paperwork, I will get my CDL back after 18 months. So I don't have to be retrained. The city doesn't have to pay anything. I also had my CDL when I came here. Apparently in 2019, it was rewritten, the job specs, that you have to have it throughout your entire employment. That's neither here nor there. But I guess what I'm wondering is that I take full responsibility for my actions. Okay. ACBC has determined that I don't require treatment. I don't have an alcohol problem. I went 3 months with an alcohol anklet on, where if you drink at all, that it goes off automatically and goes directly to all of it. So, it was a situation where I was actually the designated driver all night long. I went to Amici's at 9:30. Had a glass of Lambrusco and espresso martini. I was the designated driver the rest of the night. Drove all of my passengers home. We went all over the place. I wasn't drinking. Drove all of my passengers home. Got them home safe. Drove to my girlfriend's house all the way up to the 24-hour CVS on Front Street to get her medication. She wasn't feeling well. Picked that up. Dropped it off. Going home. I rolled through a yellow light on Court and Tompkins when it was milled. And I had an old truck. I just hit the brakes going down a little ramp. And then by the time I got through it, and then I got the state troopers pulled me over. All of my lawyer just told me fast, don't take the breathalyzer, don't take the breathalyzer, don't take the breathalyzer. Well, now I have obviously learned that, if I had just taken the breathalyzer, I wouldn't be in any of this issue. All I'm asking for, I love my job. I love being the senior groundskeeper for the city. I take great pride in what I do. That's like my passion. That's what I went to college for. I had a landscaping degree from Delhi. I worked for the Parks Department for almost 13 years, and that was my passion. And now I'm thankful to have a job that I transferred to the sewer department. I've been there for a month and a half now. I think this is my 6th week. And I'm thankful I had my job and, was able to keep my retirement and everything. But at the end of the day, this is my passion, and I went from having all the responsibilities, taking care of a good portion of the landscaping for the city. And I grew up here. I went went to Susquehanna Valley, but I grew up on right off Burr Avenue. I lived right on the south side, you know, and it's. I would just, if there's any possible thing that I can do, go back down to 70% pay to get until my CDL, until that time is elapsed and I get my CDL back. I'll do whatever it takes, you know what I mean? I miss what I do, like what I did for the city, you know, and I understand and take full responsibility for what happened. It was my actions and no one else's, you know.
Are there other jobs in the Parks Department that might be open that you could fit into? At this time, and if there's are there any openings?
The most appropriate one also requires CDL.
Well, most of them do.
Well, not most of them, but those do. I don't think. Is there anything else open in Parks right now?
Right now, the park's out, if there's anybody.
This is the only other thing that like what I wrote in this letter. If I'm not considered for the tree trimmer position that is open and available, the job specs for that state exactly what it states for mine, that you have to have a CDL upon appointment and you have to have it the entire time of your appointment. And the gentleman that holds the position currently and has held it for over 2 years does not have a CDL, still does not have a CDL to this day.
And why is that?
And was hired at 100% pay. So if I'm not going to be considered for this other open tree trimmer position, why is it allowed for this guy to have done? Basically what I'm saying is, if his job specs state verbatim what mine do, and he was hired and allowed two plus years to acquire a CDL, why can't I just be given a reprieve to get my CDL back and hold my position when it's not costing the city anything? The truck that I drove every day since 2019 does not require a CDL. We only have 2 trucks for the Parks Department that even require them. I understand that, like, that's a way to.
But you have no license. You have no license at all, though.
No, I do. I have a conditional license. I have a conditional driver's license that allows me to drive back and forth to work, perform my work duties while I'm at work. And then, like, I have my own landscaping business and I can run my business after work. And I bartended 3 nights. The whole time I had that alcohol anchor on, I bartended 4 nights a week. And still did not drink.
It's kind of counterintuitive in a way.
Right, and that's what some people think. At the Eagles Club, over on Broad Avenue. But you know, to go from somebody, if you're looking to be thinking that I have an alcohol problem. No, not you. I'm just saying, like if you think that I have an alcohol problem, I don't think someone can do that. Work 4 nights a week at a bar. And still have this alcohol anklet on it. And I never had any incidents. That's why the whole thing got, you know, that's why I am where I am now. You know, I go into these classes every Tuesday night at BCC and I explain my situation to them. And all I'm asking for is the same treatment that this gentleman, I don't want anybody to lose their job. That's not what I'm asking.
Well, I understand. So what was the situation with other gentlemen? Yeah, I mean, so what happened there? So he was hired. And when he was hired, he did not have a CDL.
Right.
But they didn't believe a CDL was required when they hired him. Was that the issue, or what happened?
I don't know what they believe. That was the prior parts.
Right.
Commissioner, so I'm not sure why.
Okay.
That happened.
So, does he have a CDL now?
No. It's got a provision or no. Permit. It's got a permit.
A CDL permit.
So we can drive a CDL.
Okay. So is he working to get a CDL license?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's rectifying the problem or the issue.
But no,
it's like the issue's getting rectified. He's going to have a CDL.
Yeah, full transparency. I think when this came to light, they're like, "Oh crap!" It was brought to their attention.
Right.
Because obviously it's like, let's deal with this. And so they got out of the classes. Clearly they weren't terribly motivated to do that. But but they are now, and we made sure that they did once this mistake came to light. So, but, you know, and the difference in treatment is because that guy didn't make a mistake.
Well, the city made the
City
mistake.
made a mistake.
Right, right.
So the city owes him
Right, I understand that.
that opportunity, versus.
Well, the fact that he's in the process of getting his license so he'll have it.
Yeah.
Let me also say there that, you go around a long time, it's like I had done. And during your administration, you put people back to work. When you got involved with drugs, PWI, whatever. Foundations for them, even when other employees that they worked with pitched in. And they drove the truck that they had to drive, so they didn't have a CDL.
Right.
But they still got paid for the position they were in. And along down the list, there's, I know, Ivan Beautiful, I don't know if you remember that.
I'm not sure. Remember the name.
And there's Anthony Belcher, that was a mechanic. He lost with BWI, and they kept him on. I think it was during your administration. And
Well, the thing here is always, I mean, well, I think the main thing is he does have a job, which is good with the city.
Right.
And is, so I think that's the important thing, the fact, I mean, because it would be a different dynamic if you were, you know, we're gonna lose your job and, you know, and based on everything you said.
Well, the only reason that this even came to light, I just so happened to come down here to apply for the tree trimmer job. And I thought to myself, okay, well, if this is the reason that I have to vacate this job, then why not transfer to another job that doesn't require it? Or most of the entry level positions, you have up to 2 years to get your CDL. So after this time period, there literally there's no change whatsoever. Like I just performed my job since September with no hiccups, no issues, no nothing.
Is your old job filled? Is it, or is
No.
it still?
What's the city's recommendation on this?
Well, the department didn't want to, waive the CDL.
Right.
So they were not supporting.
I understand that.
And like I say, the differences in the situation.
Well, I understand the difference, exactly.
So, yeah, we just kind of went by civil service and what was required, so that's what we did.
Right. Is there,
Try to hold it over until he goes back.
yes, we could. I mean, give them an opportunity to weigh in on it.
That's up to you.
There's a missing
I
person.
mean,
Yeah, there's a missing person. Yeah.
I mean, Justin already told you this, but everything he drives, I swear to God, 2% of the time you might have to drive a CDL vehicle.
Right.
I mean, on his job.
Well, I understand that. You know what, see, I'll tell you what our concern has been is a lot of times what we do tends to set a precedent. And that's why we're
I'll
caught.
tell you what, the union will sign off on that.
No, I know, but I mean, it's just like other situations, other people, like, you know, like it's like if you make an exception in a particular case here, why won't you make an exception in this case here, even though it may be completely different? It's like you're opening the door to making exceptions.
Well, right now you are making an exception.
I mean, for this other guy that's already been here.
Well, yeah, but
years.
but that was an error that at the time he wasn't hired on an exception. He was hired where they thought he was hired appropriately. And then they realized their mistake and they're trying to rectify it. He wasn't given a pass to get the job. You know what I'm saying? He didn't come in and apply, didn't have a license, and they gave it to him anyways. So that if they had done that, then you would have.
I mean,
You'd have.
I'm not trying to
No, I
say
understand.
anything. I mean, there's
No.
several things I could weigh in on about that whole situation.
No, I'm saying, but no, my point is that if he was given an exception, then that would lend a lot to what you're asking. In other words, if they knew he didn't have a CDL, and they said, well, we're gonna give you a job anyways, and we're not even gonna talk about it.
I mean, his brother was the tree trimmer and had the job before him and knew full well he had to have a CDL.
Right. Well,
And then got hired, and then the one who has the tree trimmer job now got hired, knowing full well he had a CDL.
right. But the problem here is the city at the time, for whatever reason, they hired him thinking that I don't know if they thought, we don't know what they thought. We thought they.
I don't know why that happened.
So,
Something's not.
yeah, but is there a salary difference between what you're making now and what you were making in the other positions?
It's over 12 grand a year.
So it's $12,000, you're making $12,000 a year less?
Yeah.
But this is only, was this.
And that's before overtime. Like I just put my other house in Port Crane on the market because I can't afford it. But today,
So, you can get your CDL back in 18 months.
yeah, it's actually 16 now,
Right.
but they just give it back.
And there's no hiccups, you
No,
don't have
there's
to go
no,
to the
there's
test
no
again,
hiccups,
you
no,
don't have
the
to-
city doesn't have to pay for it. I don't have to retake the test, I don't have to do anything. You know, the city didn't pay for my CDL to start with, you know, I had it when I walked in the door, you know. I mean, I hold a, I'm a New York State certified excavator, I have a New York State pesticide license, I'm a certified nursery and landscape practitioner. You know, this is the job that
No, I understand that. Are the other Parks Department jobs, would they pay what you were making, or
the only reason I applied for the tree trimmer job is because it's a little bit, it's more money. And the way that the department works is, yes, you have a title and you do X, Y, and Z, but you know, we're a team. And you know, if other things need to be done, then you could do other things, and they're not always doing tree work all the time. You know, so I thought, well, if I can apply for this tree trimmer job, then I'll at least be back in the department doing what I enjoy doing, you know, making more money, or at least close to what I was making before. And
How long have you been with the city?
13, almost, it'll be 13 years in June. And I was with Binghamton University as a heavy equipment operator for 3 years before I came to Broome.
I understand. Does the city have anything else we should know? Any other pertinent information you can think of?
I know that the Parks Department is planning on converting that tree trimmer positions to labor positions.
Well, is there a tree trimmer position open right now?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you're looking to get, an open position?
I mean, ideally, I'd love to take my open position that's open currently back, if there was any possible
So what was
consideration.
your current position?
I was the senior groundskeeper.
Senior groundskeeper. So the tree trimmer, they're gonna eliminate, but the tree trimmer requires a CDL also.
Right. So yeah, there's not too many more moving parts. The map of the city is that we saw that circumstance.
Well, I understand that,
That's
I
why
would say that, to be back in the position he once held, the senior groundskeeper, that's not putting, a real burden on the city. Because you really don't have to drive the CDL vehicle. I mean, like I say, 2% of the time you might have to do it. And that, but I mean, if we can get somebody to, you know, take that vehicle that day, then.
And as like I said, the truck that I drove on a daily basis, I like literally going around doing landscape maintenance, like what I did, weeding, planting, mulching, you know, like I built I did the patio for the Rod Serling and the sidewalk for the Rod Serling statue. You know, I did the sidewalk that goes from the pool building over to the outer space. And I did all of that. Like the one that I did over there literally required 0 city money. I did that on all recycled materials that we had at the shop. You know, I redid the landscaping of the strip parking over here across the street that was completely was kind of a nightmare. I mean, I know you guys might not know a lot about, salt resistant plants or whatever, but they only can take so much, like they just can't be completely saline for getting all the salt from up here, the salt from the road, and then the salt from the sidewalk down here. It just got decimated. So I ripped it all out, put it all into, just stone, and the leopard grasses will grow and tolerate that. And it's all low maintenance. The one that I redid over here, the two islands I redid over here between like the arena on Gorgeous Washington Street, where it was another planting that didn't really make a lot of sense. And I think that sometimes you have people that look at things on a PowerPoint presentation that looks beautiful, but then from a maintenance perspective, it's unmaintainable. Once the plants get so dense and you can't get in there, and I redid all that, it hurts me to drive around the city and see the stuff not being taken care of the way that
We go into the executive section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll go into executive session for a few minutes. You guys want to hang outside while we talk about it? Okay. Well, this is what, oh, yes, that's the thing. Make a motion to come out of the executive session. I'll do it when we come in. Should that motion go in. Motion to come out of executive session. Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, this is what I think, we're trying, I'm kind of sympathetic to where you're at. But we also have the issue about trying to maintain the consistency and integrity of the requirements. So there may be other positions that may open up in the city that require a CDL, but they're not required when you start. They're like there's some positions where you have 6 to 12 months to get a CDL. It's 2 years. Is it 2 years? Okay. Well, then
Unless it's specified in the job spec.
that's a specified the job spec. So if a job opens up, another job opens up and you apply for it and it requires a CDL, and you have 6 to 12 months to get it, or it's specified that way. And you're short a couple months because of the 18-month thing, we would grant you we would grant the extra time. So what we're saying is that other jobs may open up here that require a CDL, not on hiring, but there's some that gives you you have 6 to 12 months to get it or even longer. Well, some might specify 6 to 12 months. We would work with you if you needed more time, a few extra months. That would prohibit you from getting the job.
So you're saying if they post a senior groundskeeper that's open for the job, that you can apply for that?
Well, I don't think he can apply for the job he was out of. I know that's a civil service. If he's out of a job, I don't think he can reapply for the job he's out of. But if another job opens up that requires a CDL, but not upon hiring, like if there's another, I don't know what it looks like, is there assistant groundskeeper or something in the Parks Department? Does that require a CDL? What other ones in Parks require CDL? Assistant groundskeeper? No, tree trimmer is what you have, right?
Tree trimmer's not what I had.
All right, tree trimmer. Let's say hypothetically tree trimmer. So a tree trimmer position, what is a requirement for a CDL for that position?
Yeah, supposed to be kind of a point there.
Okay, there's any jobs in Parks hypothetically that would fall under that 6 to 12 thing?
Groundskeeper.
Okay.
Isn't that
Is it-
upon appointment?
Do they need a CDL for a groundskeeper?
Not upon appointment, they don't. The
Everybody, a
groundskeeper.
senior groundskeeper?
I was the senior.
Okay, so a just hypothetically, because I don't know if it's open, there's not an opening there right now, obviously. So hypothetically, a groundskeeper position, and there might be other positions, other departments, but a groundskeeper position, upon hiring, you don't need a CDL upon hiring, but you have time to get it. Okay, so if there's a position hypothetically like that, where you need time to get it, and let's say it opened up, some position like that opened up tomorrow, and you only had 12 months, and you need to have 18 months or something, we would we would work with you on the time.
So there's nothing, even though, like I said, this gentleman has been employed with the city for over 2 years.
So I understand,
And
yeah.
it states the exact same thing.
Well, right.
That's the only reason I brought that.
No, you know what, I understand why you brought it. I mean, if I were you, I would have done it too, and I know there's nothing malicious why you're doing it.
No,
I
I
would
don't
do-
want anybody to.
No, I understand, no, it was a very valid point. And the difference is it was the city's error, and the city and he are working to rectify it, he's getting his CDL. And if this, you know, in other words, like, there was no ill intent when he was hired to give him a pass or anything like that. If that were the case, it'd be a different story.
What if I know that it was?
Well, I mean,
No,
I spoke,
Well, if we have evidence of it.
I spoke to my lawyer before.
well, I mean, you know,
I'm not trying, I don't wanna do that. Like I said, I love the city, I love my job.
No, I understand. I mean-
What I did.
fighting for your job, like we're not gonna take personally. If you have other information you wanna bring to us, we're certainly open to listening to it. I'm not gonna fault you or have a problem with you. If you're trying to fight for your job. So we're not gonna take offense. Unless you start throwing furniture at us or something. But I mean, no, seriously, if you, I mean, anything you think is relevant, we'll be willing to listen to. So you can, we'll consider it again. But in the meantime, I'm just saying, if something might open up tomorrow, it might not be for a couple of months or 6 months, but I'm just saying is that opens up and you don't have a CDL for 18 months and you have 12 to get it, we'll work with you on that remaining time to give you the opportunity to get into another job.
Yeah, the way it reads now, like all the entry level positions in the city require a CDL, and they give you 2 years to get it. And I think it is 2 years because they have an employee for the city that trains, like they have a
Are you
specific.
sure it's 2 years? I mean, it's a
I'm positive.
that's in their
Yeah,
contract
yes.
unless it's specified on the job description, and there is in some of the job.
so if the job description takes precedence over their contract.
Civil service.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to refer. So, yeah, if there was a situation like this where you needed that,
Them jobs are probably far beyond.
well, I don't know, I mean, but I'm just saying that's one thing right now, and then if something, if something else comes up that you think is a different solution, we're willing to entertain it.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, he told you all the experience.
No, I understand all that, I mean, it sounds like he's a good
I just can't see,
but we're just concerned about, we've had other.
2% of his time spent in a CDL vehicle. And he's good at what he does, I would see.
Well, I just went from the end of September to the beginning of April. It was not behind the wheel CDL vehicle the entire time. Well, I had my CDL license still.
Well, I mean, if the city changes the description or something, that's a different story, but I mean, you can't, that's, I don't know. You can make a motion to do that, if you want, civil service department, the personnel department, see, they try that route.
I know it's better than the rules, I understand. He took full responsibility for what he did, I wish he never did it. But it happened, and that's life.
No, I know, I mean, I'm sympathetic, but I've been through it where, I saw it in another municipality where, somebody came in with a real legitimate reason to waive a residency requirement, and then, they were sympathetic to it. The next thing you know, other people are coming in, you did it for him, why aren't you doing it for me? I got this, it's not exactly the same. So the tough thing is that once you kind of make an exception, you really put yourself in a difficult position to say no to other people who may have similar situations or something different, but it'll be, you made an exception for A, it's not the same situation as yours, but you made it for him, why won't you make it for me? And then we're kind of in a position where we can't, it's very difficult then to uphold the guidelines, because even though you make some very,
I mean, I completely understand what you're saying.
Valid points.
Just like the point that you just brought up. If you look at the history of me coming in for trees down in the city, You have three guys that all live in Whitney Point. The other two are brothers. They live across the street from each other, right next to Broome racetrack, right on the county line. And I'm here every single time. I was here every single time. And they,
Right, yeah, I understand. Well, I'll say this, and I'll just say that, you know, we're open, if you have anything else you want to bring to us, you know, we're gonna vote on it, but we would consider, we would consider other information or other suggestions. If you think of something.
So how long would that take, if we did, go that route to change the specs of the groundskeeper?
Well, I know that's a personnel department issue.
I'm not even necessarily asking for that. Like I said, I don't want anybody to lose their job.
Well, I think they would lose their job.
I just,
It's a matter, it's because it's not a matter of
I
losing.
just know that I care about the city a lot, and I see the struggles that my department that I took pride in for 13 years is struggling.
No, I understand. No, we're not saying you want them to lose your job. You're putting valid points on the table and it's something, that's why we were asking about it. I mean, when you explain the one individual, we just dismiss it. We want to know exactly what happened and why it happened and what was being done and what the rationale was.
So
So,
there's a lot more to it.
right, well, I mean, we're, you know,
And bring it to us, you know. and
everything that
we'll
stays
look
in
at
this
it.
room is,
Yeah.
confidential.
It's just, it's unfortunately, it's nepotism for it is 100%. And it's a shame to watch. Because I've sat here and watched it happen, and I've been the squeaky wheel that says something about it, and now I'm in the position that I am. I passed both civil service exams, and I scored higher than anyone else for the supervisor and the assistant supervisor test, other than Nick Baylor, who's now the commissioner. And I looked at him and said, Nick, this is the way that you want things to go, and you're happy with the way things are. I'll take my name out of the hat just to not make waves. But the only person that scored higher on that test was Nick Baylor, who had 5 years of paid training, and I would hope that he scored higher than me on that test. And as a matter of fact, he didn't. Both scored the same on the supervisor test, and I scored higher than anyone on the assistant supervisor test.
Well, like I said, you think about it, if there's stuff relative, to this case, if you want to bring it to us, or there's something, other position opens up that we can look at too, you know, we'll keep an open mind.
It's just hard. It's hard. Like I said, I understand that I can put myself in this position, and I take full responsibility for it. I'm happy to have a job that I can.
Well, I'm glad that you are working, that's important.
You know, but the fact that I punch in for the sewer department every day, I don't even drive a truck. But I'm just a passenger every day. I want from having all the responsibilities to where I came down here for the last commissioner when they did the Metro Center project, the re-landscaping of the project, and Pat McGinnis called me and said, Justin, the company that's doing this, something happened where they didn't install like 15% of the plant material. Part of that job got axed. And I came down here and went through the construction documents with Pat. And he said, well, they're offering to refund the city $700. And I went through the whole construction plan, the whole construction document plan, the blueprints, all of it. And said, well, I would suggest that you tell them to put another zero on the end of that, or you're going to take them to court. Because they didn't provide 15% of the job. And like I said, a lot of things look good on a PowerPoint presentation where you're talking to people that, you know, it just looks good on paper, whatever, you know, but I came down here and did that for Pat because the people that you have in place don't, no offense, but they don't even know what they're looking at. And it just, like,
Well, you know what, you may think nothing's on the horizon now, but you just don't know, so, like I said, you know, it may like seem today, well, there's nothing out there, but, you know, things are fluid, you never know what's gonna happen.
well, the thing that is out there is the job that I left,
Why not?
you know. It changed. I just lived it for the last seven or 8 months. Like I didn't get my own bill to see the vehicle the entire time. And I'm running the excavator for the city, trimming and doing everything that they ask me to do every single day.
All right. Okay, like I said, if you have anything else, if you have anything you want to bring it back, or want to talk about something, bring it back. We're open.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay,
Thank you.
And we'll, maybe I just don't.
yeah, like I said, we're open. We're listening. Definitely are. We can find a solution. All right, good to see you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Good luck. Like I said, we're open. Considering other options, so. Do we need to do a motion, or is this, was this just a discussion? Should we make a motion?
Make motions.
Okay, make a motion to deny the request. Is there a motion to deny the request?
I'll make the motion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, the motion to make an exception to, the job requirement, for, what's the position? Senior groundskeeper, has been defeated. Yeah, I mean, but
That would be the problem.
I don't want to litigate things with people, but what lawyer tells you not to take DWI test? That you're automatically named.
I don't know.
Oh. Well, that's still.
So that's what I remember.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, other business, we have an eligible list for firefighter. Is there a motion to accept the list?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second, all in favor? Aye. The list has been accepted. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 18th, 2025. Is there any new business or old business to discuss?
Now, that meeting, I think Phil said he can't attend this one, but he can come the 17th if you guys wanted to change it, or you just want to keep it.
He can't come to this 18th
I
meeting?
think that's what he wrote back in his email.
Oh, okay. So, that 17th would be what, a Tuesday?
If you can.
Yeah, we can make it,
So,
we can make it Tuesday the 17th.
Tuesday, okay.
Motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Aye.
These were home,
Yeah, you're right.
and my parents.